Hello you guys. Okay, so today is going to be like a thrift with me style video where I'm going to take you into some thrift stores with me, and I'm going to basically go through the racks. I'm going to see what all I can find. I'm looking very specifically today for actual treasure. I'm not doing my sort of like bread and butter stuff today necessarily, because I just went to a big old rummage sale just like yesterday and managed to fill up my tote. So I have a little bit of a backlog of inventory that I can pull from to stay consistent with my listing, but I'm really looking today just to see if I can find anything really kind of awesome. It's actually the day before Christmas Eve and it's surprisingly quiet out. I guess most people don't want to be thrifting today. That's not me. And so let's go in and see what all we can find.
Okay, so I went ahead and started obviously at the front of the store when I first entered, and there just happened to be a shoe rack. I did find these men's, they were Merrell or Morel, however you want to say it, and they were hiking boots. I do like those high top boots. Had a quick look over for the condition. Obviously they had some dirty soles from being used, but I decided to grab them just so I could take a closer look later, because I have done quite well with some of those hiking boots depending on what they're for and what kind of conditions they are designed for. So I took a look through the rest of the men's shoes as well. There were a pair of Keens that I had my eye on. Again, I have to be really careful with the condition of these. With them being fabric, they can be quite hard to clean up, but I did decide to put them in my cart just so that I could go ahead and again at the end of the shopping trip take a closer look and see what kind of condition they were actually in and maybe give them a quick look up for comps. Next I moved on to the denim section. There's a couple of rows at this thrift store of denim. And I'm just kind of flicking through jeans here, looking mostly for labels at this point, but also for any like color and cut that may stand out for me, whether or not it's a really nice dark wash or a skinny, something like that, that's just maybe some released hems or some distressing that really kind of stands out. And just mostly looking for brand really. I did find a pair of 7 for All Mankind. Had that kind of lighter wash, like a medium wash perhaps. And it did catch my eye. Some good condition. I'm checking there, the kind of the crotch area, making sure they don't have any holes or any sort of really noticeable distressing that shouldn't be there. And again, decided to grab it to take a closer look a bit later on. And a pair of silver jeans as well. Now silver I'm really picky with. I used to pick them up, but they don't do so well for me anymore, so I actually decided to pass over these just from sort of past experience at this point. Now these were something that caught my eye. It's not actually a brand that I have found before, DL1961 or 1961, and they were a skinny dark wash as well, so they had a few things going for them and definitely worth a closer look. So in my cart they went. Another pair of silver that I passed over, just not bothered about those at this point in time. You can see some wear on those jeans right from the get-go as well as I'm flicking through, like definitely some stretching around the tops of the thighs. That's something I always check for as well on jeans, because that's a telltale sign that they're a little bit overworn. Soft surroundings here. Again, this looks like a nice cut to me. Dark wash with a sort of skinny straight fit. And I decided to grab that and again look a little closer as I go, but it's a brand that I love to pick up. Soft surroundings does really well for me, even in denim. So next I'm kind of moving on. I think I may be going to the second row right now of denim. Like I said, there's quite a lot here that I needed to flick through. A lot of jeans, and jeans aren't always my first go-to when I go to a thrift store, but this is kind of the first thing at the door at this particular one. There's some Lucky brand here, which kind of hit or miss for me, but $8.99 is just too high of a price for me to pay in a thrift store, unfortunately, to flip those for any kind of decent profit. Lauren Ralph Lauren jeans, again, they were new with tags. $89.50 originally, but again they wanted $8.99, and I just don't think there's enough kind of meat on the bone, if you like, for me to get a decent profit off of those. Now if this was a rummage sale and I was picking them up and they were, you know, $1 or $2, I probably would have grabbed them, but here not so much. Not Your Daughter's jeans, that is an older tag that you see there. I do really like to pick up this brand, but there was a little bit of stretching on the thighs, and with it being the older tag, I decided to skip over it because they were full price. I'm just kind of flicking through now and sort of seeing if there's anything else. Like sometimes when you find, you know, one good brand, there'll be something else in there as well that someone has donated. And if I can't find the brand, you'll have seen me looking at the button right there. It was a Gap brand. Sometimes if I can't find the branding like in a label, I'll check the button and that'll kind of give me a clue as well. I really like these yellow boots that I came across. They were Land's End. I thought they were really kind of neat, and there was some sparkly boots and all sorts. Definitely things that were catching my eye, but nothing that was a brand good enough that I really wanted to sort of pay thrift store prices for at this point. Really just looking at style right now and looking for anything quality, checking to see if there's a quality leather to be found, maybe a leather sole. That's always a good indication of a high quality shoe as well. But overall, just kind of checking things out, giving them a flip over and looking at condition. And obviously these boots caught my eye a little bit. I wanted to look inside. I thought at first they were vintage. I really couldn't tell, and there was a little too much wear in the end, and the price was too high, so I left them behind. Yeah, but just sort of checking things out as I go. There's lots of different shoes in the store, kind of all around it, rather than just being one big shoe section. There's several, so you'll see me looking at shoes throughout this video, really. All right, so we're heading along now. These are tight aisles, and one thing I will say about this thrift store, not to sound like I'm moaning, but they pack these like the clothing rails or whatever so tight that I could barely get in to see any brands. It was such hard work trying to check it out and actually see what all was there. I could barely move the pieces. I ended up in jackets next. I sort of made the executive decision, as it were, to go from jeans to jackets, just because sometimes there is a higher profit margin when it comes to jackets and outerwear. So I'm having a flip through here. Lots and lots of quirky vintage pieces, lots of sort of bread and butter there, but again, those thrift store prices, I'm not really going to be picking up like Talbots and Coldwater Creek unless it's new with tags or something very specific, like a really good style or a plus size or something like that. Looking through nice and quickly, keeping my eye on those brand tags there. And a J. Crew piece, but that was an older tag, and again a corduroy jacket. It was long, which kind of caught my eye, but it's just not in style anymore as far as like I know from selling online, and with it being that older tag as well, I didn't think it was worth paying up for. Lots and lots of leather jackets as well, which is always kind of interesting, but again, I'm really picky on that. Now this piece did catch my eye. $5.99 full price. It was a vintage Disney piece, and it was like Christmassy themed, if you like, with Winnie the Pooh and Piglet. I love a good vintage Disney piece, especially jackets. However, I was a couple of days before Christmas and I just felt like it was going to be too out of season. This vintage windbreaker I really liked as well. Love a good sort of print blocking or color blocking, but not for a thrift store price. Again, those are things I say for rummage sales and yard sales usually. Just kind of looking through, keeping an eye there, looking for something that might stand out as quality. I thought this was interesting. It was all sort of like woven like a tapestry with wild horses, very boho western, open vest. The brand wasn't anything that I knew about, but I didn't think it was vintage just from looking at it, and therefore I didn't feel like I could use enough keywords necessarily, and I decided to just err on the side of caution and pass it over. Again, something I would have picked up if the price point had been lower. I'm very picky usually when it comes to thrift stores and their pricing about what I pick up. Back in with some more of these leather jackets now. Just kind of flicking through, nothing that really caught my eye overall. I have to be very picky with those, and there can be some hidden wear as well. Talbots. This Talbot's jacket was very nice, very classic career piece, but again, that price point was high. They do mark up Talbots. I loved this vintage LL Bean. Again, this kind of like rainbowy striped southwestern boho tapestry type jacket. Really thought it was cool, but at $10, just a little too high for me, unfortunately. And then we get into more of the kind of like blazers and things like that. I actually don't super love looking at blazers. I have to say, Catherine Melandrino, everybody I sort of have heard online says that's a good brand and it retails quite high, but I just do not do well selling it. So I decided to be kind of careful. And Eloise, I think that is a plus size brand that has done quite well for me in terms of selling quickly, but not for a high amount of money in the past. So I didn't want to pay up for it either. Lots and lots of your standard kind of mall brands and things like that. It's only once in a while that you find something that really stands out. You just kind of get used to flicking through these racks. Gap Academy blazer. Now this is something I really like to pick up when the price is right. And they're just, again, like a very classic career piece. But unfortunately, it was just a little too much for me right now. This piece, really nice boho feel, kind of like shift, like tunic, short dress, long top, whatever you want to call it. And it was a plus size, so I took that to take a closer look. And I'm in the dresses now, if you can't tell. It was really cool Victoria's Secret polyester sort of slip, if you like, kind of like a... I guess it was nightwear, really, just kind of ended up in the dresses. I thought it was very interesting, but again, I grabbed it to look closer, but I wasn't too sure exactly how I was going to market that because their nightwear doesn't always sell for too much for me. So just looking through these different dresses, they have all kinds of different things stuffed in here. You can probably tell again that the rails were so overstuffed, I could barely get in there to see what anything was. It was really hard work. And again, not to moan, but my arms were tired at the end of this thrift store, just simply from trying to move the pieces enough to actually see the brand tags. So yeah, that's how it goes sometimes. No one said that thrifting was easy. I'm kind of keeping my eye out for prints and stuff right now. Obviously, we are at Christmas time when I filmed this, but obviously spring is coming. And I do like a good floral or a good novelty print. So I'm keeping my eyes peeled for something like that where I have some great keywords I could throw into the title for one of these pieces. But brand or like the print and things, those are the things that I really keep my eyes open. So there's a cherry print here on this dress. And I thought that was so intriguing. And then we had a nice wide stripe here with a linen. I could tell when I touched it was a linen. It was Beach Lunch Lounge, which is a brand I love personally. I think their pieces are so nice, but it doesn't always sell that well for me. We have Forever 21, but in the plus sizes, which can do well, but not for $20. There's no way I was paying $20 for a piece of Forever 21. In fact, it probably didn't even retail that high. So I passed on that. We have a Torrid piece, and that is the newer tag. And I think it was sort of like either a maxi dress or it may have been like a jumpsuit. We have a really neat kind of vintagey style print with all this cool boho detail. Disney Beauty and the Beast. I actually took the time to look this up. Just because it was so interesting, you don't see things like it all the time, but I put it back because the comps just weren't there. Another piece. This piece, I really liked. It had that kind of almost like Mexican flair to it. Really, really nice. But without it being the plus size, I didn't think I was going to do quite as well with it. So I did put that piece back as well. And just continue to flick through and try and take a peek at those brand labels as we can. You can see my cart's filling up just a little bit, but not as much as I probably would have liked. I'm stopping and I did take a quick look at the bras and things like that, and then went over to the shoes. Nothing to be found in the bras. Always looking for sports bras and good brands like Lululemon and things. And then with some of the shoes racks, like I said, there's shoes all over this store, but I always stop here and take a close look as well. I have found some great treasure here. I found Everlane shoes here. I found Birkenstocks, and it's really just a case of looking at them style first, and then again, like I mentioned, looking for those quality materials, leather and leather soles, and just like great brands, great styles, all that good stuff. There's a lot to look at, I know, and it can be a little bit overwhelming, but just kind of breaking it up into little sections helps me a bit when I'm at this particular store. These did catch my eye. They were Franco Sato, a leather woven sort of boho western mule. I thought the style was really, really nice. I thought it was quite on trend and the condition was great. So I did grab those to take a little bit of a closer look and possibly look at some comps as well. Just kind of working my way around the shoes. These caught my eye as well. Similar style again with that kind of almost like an embossed leather. And I thought they were kind of fun. They were, what were they, $7.99, but that orange tab would have been half price here. I really liked them based on style, but overall I didn't feel like the brand or the sizing was there, so I did walk away from those ones. You see a lot of mules here. Now mules I find are quite in right now, but I am still picky. And then I took a quick peek in the sweaters. The sweaters tend to get quite mixed up when I'm in this particular store, so you can see some shirts and things like that in here. Forever 21, it was a fun cherry print though. They don't have so much just the like sweater section. It's kind of like long sleeves and things like that all mixed in together. So I did my best, again, fighting with those racks, trying to see those brands and things. A lot of hard work there. Coldwater Creek actually sold a piece just like this not long ago for $20, but $8.99. That is not a lot, enough room basically for profit for me. One more shoe rack before I headed back towards the front of the store. They really are everywhere here, and so you have to kind of keep your eyes peeled to see what you can find. ASOS, I do like that brand, and I like this kind of feminine, like wingtip style, but that brand really doesn't move for that much for me, so again, I have to be super, super picky with it. Skechers I do okay with as well, but not for $6. They really are more of a $1 to $2 pickup as far as I'm concerned. I will grab them at like yard sales and things though when I find them nice and cheap. They do tend to have a pretty loyal following in my opinion. Everyone likes a good Skechers, a good comfort shoe. Just taking another look at some brands here, anything that kind of catches my eye style wise. You can see there's some hard goods and things like that around here on the back. I haven't really ventured into there yet, mostly sticking with the shoes and the clothing at this point, just trying to streamline it since I had a limited amount of time in this particular thrift store. Not much really to be seen, unfortunately. I was quite hopeful that before Christmas some people may have donated some stuff, but it just didn't. At least it hadn't made it to the floor yet. If they had, maybe if I go back now I'll be a bit luckier, I'm not sure. But it's always fun to go and take a look. It's been a while since I've been to this thrift store as well, so that's always nice when you feel like you have nothing but like new stock to go through. I did go ahead and take a look at some of the hard goods while I was here. I'm trying to be more open to selling hard goods, whether it be vintage or whatever. Truth be told though, I don't really know what I'm looking for with these. It's been so long since I sold these kind of things. I know how to sort of spot a fun vintage item that I used to love to sell like in my Etsy store and stuff, but Etsy isn't as strong for me anymore, and so I really need to sort of up my knowledge with selling hard goods and what I'm looking for, so that as the sourcing season starts again in spring, I can really sort of be a bit more open-minded. I think I need to diversify a bit from clothes, honestly, and get those sales going a bit more. Did take a quick look at this. I guess this is where you can like wear a kiddo while you go hiking. I don't know much about that. I'd taken a look at the travel bags, just seeing if there's anything like a nice leather satchel or something that might jump out at me, but really it was all just kind of like very standard brands, lots of laptop bags and things like that. Nothing I was super interested in. Did wander past some of the homeware and then some of the mugs as well. Again, I like to sell coffee mugs, or I used to, but the profit margin is really low and it takes quite a lot of space to store them, even when they're fun vintage mugs, and it can take quite a lot to like ship them, you know, wrapping and materials and time and things like that. So again, I'm pretty selective when it comes to selling breakables and stuff at this point, though my mind is open for 2020. So now these are the items that I put back. Well, I'm checking first of all on the putback rack. I always have a quick flick through, see if there's any treasure there that someone else has handed back. I did put this Victoria's Secret thing back. I just didn't think the profit was there and I didn't love it. And I did put back the Winnie the Pooh piece as well. Again, I just felt it was too close to the season. 7 for All Mankind jeans. I was gonna get them and then I noticed this wear all down at the bottom. They were torn up and not in a good way. So those definitely had to go back. And these Merrell boots, unfortunately, there was just a little bit too much wear and peeling at the toe. You can see inside there's some wear to the heels and things, and some peeling there with the rubber siding, so those had to go back. The Keens as well, I just felt that the condition wasn't fantastic, and quite frankly, I didn't feel like cleaning them up much, so I put them back as well. Men's Keens are kind of hit or miss for me anyway.
Okay, so that is us done in that particular Goodwill. I did end up getting a couple of items. I got like 4, I think, but they're ones that I'm really happy with. I really like the style, condition was good, I like the brands, all that good stuff. And 3 out of 4 of them were half price with orange barbs, so that's always a plus. Okay, you guys, so I'm back from my selective thrift store outing. I hope that you enjoyed the video. I hope that it was interesting to see me actually going through the racks and things like that and talking about what I was looking at, what I put back and what I decided to pick up, which I'll show you right now in this sort of mini haul. Spoiler, there's only 4 items, but like I said, I was trying to be super selective because I just had that massive rummage sale haul. So I have plenty of inventory on hand. I just really wanted to go and see if there was anything special there. Anyway, I would love to invite you guys to let me know down in the comments if you enjoy that way of me sharing like my thrifting expeditions with you. Do you like having that kind of point of view voiceover situation, or do you prefer just seeing the hauls in general and not having the whole thrift store outing tagged in there? Let me know down below, and hopefully that'll give me some good prompts and stuff for creating more content in the future. Okay, so obviously it's not going to take very long because there's only 4 items. I will let you know that these items came to about $2.10 a piece in terms of cost of goods, and so here is what I chose to pick up. So I had 1 pair of shoes and I picked these up. I liked the brand, but I also liked the style more than anything. So the brand is Franco Sarto. There we go. Hopefully you can see that okay. And then they are a mule because they're like sort of backless mono with this really cool chunky block heel, and then it's a woven leather with like a pointed toe. They almost have like a very boho kind of western vibe to them in my opinion, and they were a size 8, so they were a good size. Like I said, they're leather, and I just thought overall they were just a really nice style with a pretty good brand, and I wanted them for my closet. Okay, the next item is a brand that actually does really well for me. It's a frequent seller, is what I would call it. In fact, if you haven't seen one of my latest videos where I talk about my most frequent sellers basically on Poshmark, what sells the most for me in terms of brand, I'll link it right here, and I basically break it down to the top 10 brands that I have sold most frequently throughout 2019, just in case that interests you. Anyway, the brand is Umji, and this is actually a plus size. That little plus there indicates it's a plus size. It's a 2XL, and I grabbed it for the style. I just thought it was so cute. It is a sort of mini dress, I would say, kind of like a shorter dress with an empire style waist, but this whole front here is embroidered like a kind of tapestry, like all textured and whatnot, with this little tassel detail at the front and some buttons, and it's sleeveless. I know it's kind of out of season since we're in December, but I just thought it was the cutest piece, and I love the fact that this was all actually embroidered detail, not just a print. Like I said, it is a brand that sells often for me, and it has a pretty good turnaround time, and I think that that piece being a plus size and its style will do really well. Okay, and the last 2 things are 2 pairs of jeans I decided to go with. So the first is DL1961. This is actually my first time finding this brand. I've heard of it before. I've heard people like resellers and stuff talking about it. I've never found it in person, so I was glad to pick these up. And also they're a lovely dark wash in great condition and a skinny fit, so that's always a good thing in my opinion. These are in fact the Kate Slim Straight. So right there, so I'm quite happy with those. I will also say as well, when you're looking at jeans and you're trying to decide if a denim brand is worth looking up, a great indicator of potential quality and therefore potential resale value is when you look at the rivets on the back. They'll often have branding like actually punched into it, as you can kind of see there, that has the logo. Oftentimes I find that that is a great indication that this is a slightly higher end brand and therefore worth looking up. And the last item is a good old favorite of mine. The label's a little bit worn, but that's fine. It is Soft Surroundings. There we go. And they are just a dark wash, but again, we have a nice sort of straight skinny fit. They actually seem like they might have a longer inseam as well, so I'll have to measure that and see what I'm working with. But overall, just a nice, well-fitted pair of pants. They look like they have a higher rise as well, and a good brand, so I was definitely going to pick them up for a couple of bucks. Alright you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Again, let me know down in the comments what you thought of the format. I'm really interested to hear your opinions, and if you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. It lets me and YouTube know that this is content that you have enjoyed watching, and therefore I can keep creating it. If you haven't subscribed yet, I would love it if you would hit that subscribe button down below, and I will be back in the next thrifty video. Bye you guys.